Have you ever wondered what your sidereal Venus sign says about what you need in relationships, but for some reason you just can't seem to find any videos or articles about this on the internet at all? Well, that's because you haven't found my channel yet. Hi, hello everyone, I'm the Sidereal Maven, your favorite astrologer and tarot reader, and today I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about your sidereal Venus sign. So if that's something that you're interested in, please stick around. Alright guys, welcome to the best video on YouTube all about Venus in your sidereal birth chart. I'm going to be spending a couple of minutes talking about what Venus is, why it matters, and then I'm going to be going through every single Venus sign, okay? So let's get started. Venus has several significations in your birth chart. The first and most popular that you may already be aware of is relationships. And not just romantic relationships, Venus also represents your relationships to your friends, to your siblings, to your co-workers, to pretty much anyone else in your community that you will come across in life. Venus is all about how you are relating to other people in general. It can also show you what you need in relationships, what you prioritize when picking friends and partners, and it can also show you what you tend to avoid in relationships or different struggles or challenges that you can face in your relationships in general. And the second signification that I think is really important and cool is Venus is all about your creativity, different sorts of artistic pursuits that you have. Venus can also represent your relationship to very specific people in your life, such as your female siblings, cousins, and aunts, as well as your female best friends, as well as femme-presenting people who may be on the gender spectrum. And that is because Venus rules over women in general, the same way Mars rules over men and male-presenting people in general, okay? So that being said, looking at the location of Venus in your birth chart can show where and how you meet these people, what your relationship to them is, whether such as the house placement and any aspects that other planets are making to your natal Venus. That being said, I'm now going to get into all 12 Venus signs, starting with Aries and ending with Pisces. If you are someone who has Venus in sidereal Aries, then your number one relationship priority is maintaining your independence and individual autonomy, which is to say you're not interested in relationships that feel like they consume you and change your identity. You're not interested in friends or partners that are telling you who to be, what to do, or how to do it, and instead you need people who are going to recognize that you are your own person with your own wants, needs, and desires, and support you in achieving your goals because, quite frankly, you are super ambitious. Aries Venus are the type of people who need a lot of independent alone time for their mental and emotional health, okay? And this sometimes comes off as if they are not a team player and not interested in connecting with other people at all, but that could not be further from the truth. The reality is Aries has a lot going on, a lot on their plate, a lot they're trying to accomplish, and they just need to be around other people who have their own goals and desires so that they can separate and kind of co-work a little separately. If you guys have ever seen that trend online of two people sitting in the same room but they're doing completely different things, that is Venus and Aries' ideal quality time, okay? Because they have their project, you have your project, and as long as you guys are getting your things done, they feel supported and loved and seen and understood, okay? Aries Venus also needs a partner who is going to support them in all of their ambitious goals, which is to say, if your Aries Venus is a theater kid, you better show up to their show. And if your Aries Venus is really into sports, then you better show up to their game, okay? Because if you don't, Aries Venus is going to take this super personally and wonder why you don't like them, okay? So, Aries Venus ideal partner is someone who is just as ambitious and creative and outgoing as they are. They want someone who is going to hold them down at the end of the day when things get crazy. And they also want a partner who is going to fight for them and make a point to show that their relationship is something worth fighting for in the first place, okay? Aries Venus can be super romantic in this way. They're like, show me you mean it when you said you loved me, okay? I don't want no wishy-washy love. I want a true ride or die. So Aries Venus, sometimes they're gonna put your relationship to the test and see if you will step up to the challenge. Aries Venus's biggest fear in relationships is the fear of abandonment, which is to say there are a lot of situations in their life in which they felt like they were left high and dry And when they really needed someone, nobody was there, and so they had to do everything for themselves. And so a lot of Aries Venus's independent nature comes from this experience of feeling like there was no one to help them when they truly needed it. And so sometimes they can struggle to ask for help, and they can also sometimes do this thing where they will leave other people before they can get left because they really cannot stand the idea of not being chosen and picked once again. And so Aries Venus really prioritizes focusing on improving themselves and uplifting their own life, which can make it very difficult to get close to them. So if you were looking to get close to an Aries Venus, I would suggest putting in the time and effort to understand what it is that is important to them and helping them achieve what that thing is. And if you are an Aries Venus, then your biggest challenge in relationships is to simply stay. Okay? You don't need to run away every time things get tough. You don't need to run away anytime there's a difficult conversation. Okay? The hardest thing for you, Aries, is simply to just stay put and work through the conflict and see what happens if you were to stay in the first place. All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone with Venus in Sidereal Taurus, then you are a super relationship-focused person. Whether this is your family, your friend group, or even a tight-knit group of co-workers, you are invested in your relationships and paying close attention to the people in your life, what they don't like, and what they got going on. You also prefer to be around people who share common interests with you. For example, if you really love reading, then you may be the type of person to join a book club. If you really love football, you may join a fantasy football team. And more specifically, Taurus Venus has this special sort of relationship with music and singing and choir. And so Taurus Venus likely to be found at a karaoke bar or at a church choir. They may be in a band, or they may be someone who just really enjoys singing in the car on the ride home. And so they need to have someone with them who's going to belt along with them instead of making fun of them for having enormous passion. And the most important thing to Taurus in a relationship is, what do we have in common? Do we like the same things? Do we want to watch the same movie together? Do we want to eat the same food? Can we gossip over chips and salsa, or are you gonna judge me, okay? They need someone who thinks like them and someone who loves like them, okay? Because Taurus Venus goes all in with whoever they are with. And so Taurus Venus ideal partner is someone who is going to hold them down no matter what, and someone who enjoys the same things they do, especially because when they really like something, they tend to maximize it as much as possible. So if they have a special type of food that they really like, they want to eat that food once a week, every week for the rest of their life. So you better love the same food as them, or you are canceled to Taurus Venus, okay? Taurus Venus needs partners who are going to be steady, calm, and focused in the face of conflict, people who are always going to try to work things out. And Taurus Venus's biggest fear in relationships is being rejected, okay? And so this is why Taurus tends to focus on people who they have things in common with, who think the same way they do, who want the same things, who feel the same things, who connect and communicate in similar ways, is because they really, really don't want to be told that the way that they are is wrong or not good enough in any sort of way. In fact, perhaps not being good enough is also one of their biggest fears. And so it can kind of create this problem where they tend to surround themselves with people who all look, think, and act like them. And they also have this tendency to sort of people please, because they want everyone that they're in relationship with to be happy with them and love them and accept them. And so, quite frankly, Taurus, to get around this challenge, you're just going to have to be yourself, be as authentic as you possibly can be, because at the end of the day, the thing that people love most about you is who you are on the inside, not what you can do for them or how you look or your ability to adhere to society's standards of beauty or success, okay? You can be reaching for all of those things and still end up in relationships with people who don't see you for who you are. So it's best to lead with who you are and let the other stuff come second, okay? All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone that has Venus in Sidereal Gemini, then you are quite the social butterfly, and you make a point to make friends with all different types of people from all different walks of life. And this is what keeps you stimulated and interested, because quite frankly, you get bored just talking to the same person every day. You need a lot of different types of friends in your life who can show you different perspectives, share different opinions, and teach you lots of different things, because you are always seeking to learn something new, okay? Venus in Gemini also tends to like to keep things light. They may keep people at a bit of an arm's distance because they are interested in the fun, light, airy aspects of a relationship, and the more deep emotional stuff they like to save for a close, intimate partner, because quite frankly, it is a lot to them. They are like, I cannot give that energy to everybody. Only a select people in my close inner circle are going to get the emotional depth from me. Everyone else, I'm here to have a good time. Venus and Gemini's biggest relationship priority is the ability to have a good conversation, okay? If you are boring, goodbye, canceled, okay? You have to be super interesting to keep Gemini's attention, because it is constantly flitting from place to place and task to task. And so if you can't keep the conversation going, Gemini is going to lose interest. They need constant intellectual stimulation, and they're also the type of person who's going to fall in love with your mind before they fall in love with your heart, okay? Gemini Venus also likes to partake in lots of different types of activities. One day they're knitting, the next they're doing carpentry, and the next they are painting a mural on the side of their house. They are constantly going from task to task and activity to activity, and so they prefer to be around friends and partners who can participate in all of these different activities with them, which is why they have so many friends and family members around who are constantly helping them learn and participate in all of these things. Gemini's ideal partner is someone who is well-read, well-traveled, and has lots of different social connections so that they can introduce them to lots of cool new things. Gemini Venus also likes to make friends with people who are going to teach them something new. They want one friend who's going to teach them how to knit. Maybe they have another friend who teaches them carpentry. Maybe another one who teaches them website design. And this process of learning and sharing information and skills is vital to Venus and Gemini, okay? Venus and Gemini's biggest fear in relationships is the fear of being misunderstood or not believed, which is to say, they can sit here and talk all day, but if you don't understand where they're coming from, or you don't believe the story that they have to tell you about who they are, or where they come from, or what they think, or what they believe, this is going to break Gemini's heart, okay? You really need to be present with them. You need to be an active listener, and you need to be someone who is going to want to educate yourself with them, okay? They really want to be around people who are curious. And so if you lack curiosity for who Gemini is, what they think, what their opinions are, how they feel about different things, Gemini is really going to be hurt by this. You got to be a good listener. Another big fear for Venus and Gemini is having someone being sort of condescending towards them, or putting down their knowledge, saying they don't know enough. If you call them naive or immature, this is definitely going to hurt Gemini's feelings. Gemini needs to be around people who are just as curious as they are, who want to learn things with them. And they also are going to put in their due diligence to learn as much as they can about you and your life and your opinions and what you think and how you feel. And so they definitely need to be around people who are going to reciprocate this energy and not try to put them down for being a beginner in any sort of situation, and not people who are going to put them down for being flighty or uncommitted, because the reality is that Gemini is on a grand adventure in this life, kind of like the Fool in Tarot. They are just flying by the seat of their pants and here to see what they can discover, okay? It's all about the discovery for Gemini. So give them the time and space to do that, and you will have no problem connecting with Venus and Gemini. All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone who has Venus and Sidereal Cancer, then you are someone who is super family oriented. Whether this is your biological family, a found family, or a close, tight-knit group of besties, you are someone who wants an inner circle of people that you can be very close to, as opposed to having lots of different shallow friendships, okay? You need those people who you can tell everything to, who know all of your secrets, and who are capable of providing a lot of emotional support to you through the different ups and downs of life, okay? And so your greatest priority in relationship is to find people who are emotionally intelligent, emotionally secure, and emotionally supportive of you, okay? Which is to say, you need friends and partners who are affectionate, supportive, and emotionally aware, both of themselves and of you, okay? You want someone who knows how to read your body language, someone who knows what you're thinking before you say it, someone who is paying attention to the way you feel and what you need. For example, if you're having sort of a grumpy day, you want someone that's going to be like, hey, do you need some ibuprofen? Do you want to go get some dinner together? Do you want some cake? Like, you want someone who's going to be present with you and pays close attention to how you're feeling at all times. And this is part of why you want that close-knit, tight group of friends or family, is because you put your absolute all into your relationships, okay? And so you can only really do that with a handful of people. And so you expect the people that you choose to do the same thing for you, okay? Cancer Venus can also be sort of possessive in relationships. They're like, once I've chosen you and you have become mine, you are mine and no one else can have you, okay? And this is part of having people in that tight-knit group, is once you are accepted into their folds, they have a hard time letting people go. When they choose a friend or a partner, they choose you for life, and they are not scared to say it, okay? They're like, you are mine and I am yours, and that is the way it is. And if you can't handle that, well, don't befriend a Cancer Venus, okay? It's who they are. And so Cancer Venus ideal partner is someone who, again, is very emotionally intelligent and emotionally present, someone who is going to be expressive and direct and upfront with their feelings, someone who is affectionate and compassionate and kind, someone who shows up when things are hard and doesn't complain about it, and someone who is going to participate in shared rituals of care, which is to say, maybe one night you cook dinner, maybe they'll do your laundry, maybe you guys are the type to sit on the couch together while one of you reads and the other plays a video game. They want the quality time, they want the physical affection, and they also want to feel like you are emotionally attuned to them in some sort of way, okay? That being said, Cancer Venus's biggest fear in relationships is that someone will use their emotions or their secrets or even their physical needs against them in some sort of way, okay? And again, Cancer Venus is opening up that crab shell and showing you their soft insides. They expect you to respect this, but their biggest fear is that someone will get a knife and just stab it in and start eating, okay? And here's the thing, if you betray a Cancer Venus, they will strike back. They are not scared of fighting you, but they don't want to. So don't give them a reason to, okay? Because once you have wronged Cancer Venus, there is no going back. They want someone who is faithful and loyal and devoted to them. And so because of this, they tend to maybe sometimes overgive in relationships in an attempt to keep people close to them. And this creates a situation in which other people can feel kind of smothered or overwhelmed by their generous attentions, okay? And so the solution, Cancer, is to let people tell you what they need instead of assuming and doing things for them, okay? You never want to be in a relationship in which you become the other person's parent or caretaker. And the second you notice that happening, please take a step back and reassess that relationship, because you are nobody's mama, okay? And you're nobody's daddy either, Cancer Venus. Don't be the sole caretaker to any one friend or partner, especially if they don't reciprocate it. That is your red flag. Make sure you have strong boundaries around your energy and time and attention, and you can't really go wrong, all right? All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone who has Venus in Sidereal Leo, then you are someone who is warm, friendly, affectionate, and likes to choose friendships with people who make you feel seen and appreciated for who you are deep down. You are someone who is super authentic, always being honest about what you think, how you feel, and what you want out of life, and you prefer to be around people who are the same. You are also someone who tends to be quite popular in your social circles, whether you want it or not, whether you recognize it or not. You are quite popular. Lots of people know your name and your reputation even before they get the chance to know you. And you are also someone who tends to pick friendships with people who are similarly popular or well known, or who are known for being very good at something that you want to learn. You are also a super creative and artsy person, and so you may make your friendships in creative circles. If you are an actor, then you want to be friends with other actors. If you're a musician, you want to be around other musicians. And if you like to sing, you want to be around other people who enjoy going to karaoke with you. And you are also someone who tends to be super loyal to your friends, even when they are saying and doing something totally, completely wrong. You're like, that's my bestie, let her speak. However, you are also someone who has a strong moral code, and if you start to feel like being friends with someone is reflecting negatively on you, then you are probably going to cut that friendship off because you have a reputation to uphold, right? And at the end of the day, Leo Venus is typically someone who's very well liked and well known, and so it's very important for you to be around people who are also well liked and well known. That being said, sometimes you can kind of overlook people who are less well known or less expressive, less confident. And so it's good to take the time to get to know all sorts of different people, and not just the people who are putting themselves directly in your line of sight all of the time. And you are also someone who is very opinionated, and so you like to be around other people who share your opinions and perspectives and points of view. Leo Venus's greatest priority in a relationship is someone who makes them feel seen and appreciated for who they really are, which is to say we are all kind of putting on a performance in life, right? You kind of have a different mask for every person that you have to talk to. You speak to your boss one way, your parents another, and this endless performance that comes as a result of constantly being seen, being the center of attention, being in the middle of whatever drama is happening can be super overwhelming to Leo Venus. And so they really need people who sees underneath all of that and loves them for who they really are. You also need to be around people who are quite frankly proud to be seen with you, proud that you are a part of their family, proud to be your friend, proud to be your partner. You need someone who's gonna show you off, someone who likes taking you out to see all the fun, crazy sights and do all the fun, crazy things, because quite frankly, you are easily bored and you need lots of excitement, okay? Venus in Leo's biggest fear in relationships is being seen in a way that they consider to be inauthentic for who they are. And so if you have a misunderstanding of their character, or if you are someone who assassinates their character, who tries to embarrass them or humiliate them, especially in a social or public setting, this is definitely going to break Leo's heart in two, okay? They care so much about what other people think and the way that other people perceive them. And so if you make it to where other people see them in a negative way, or if you are perceiving them in a negative way that they don't feel is authentic to who they are, this is going to really hurt their feelings. And so sometimes as a result of this, Leo Venus has a tendency to put on a bit of performance to try to wow and razzle dazzle everyone. And the thing about this is that Leo really loves performing. They are kind of the sign of the entertainer, of the leader, okay? And so this sort of performance isn't necessarily inauthentic just because it's a performance. Rather, it is a display of what is in their heart. And so, unfortunately, sometimes when they are feeling insecure in their minds, they will modify that performance to match whoever they are trying to please or impress. And this ends up with them in relationships with people who don't see or love them for who they are authentically. And so the solution to this, Leo, is to just always be honest, to always be upfront, and to remember that the only person you really need to impress is yourself at the end of the day. And also, Leo Venus, sometimes you got to take a step back from the performance, from your social life, and just take a couple of days off to yourself. Go #hermit mode And this will help you deal with a lot of different relationship challenges that you may have. All right? All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone with Venus in Sidereal Virgo, then you are soft, sweet, intelligent, and analytical. And you are drawn to people who are deep thinkers, someone who you can bounce your ideas and theories off of without judgment, and people who are going to help you investigate and dig in deeper to get to the heart of the matter. You are a pattern recognition sort of person, and you enjoy puzzles and problem solving, and you also really enjoy acts of service as a love language, which is to say you were always down to help someone in need, but especially people that you love and care for, and you are someone who will go above and beyond to help someone that you care about, even at the cost of your own time and energy. Even at the cost of your own time, energy, and money, okay? You are a provider in a lot of sense. You enjoy providing services to other people and helping them get through things, and you take a lot of pride in your ability to problem solve and also your ability to recognize what a problem is in the first place, because sometimes the problem is something that is easily overlooked and your pattern recognition skills just help you clue in on it super fast, okay? And so your ideal relationship partner is someone who sees and appreciates the effort you put in, because let's be honest, it's an enormous amount, because you are someone who tends to think that other people love you for what you can do for them and how much use you can be to other people. And so you really need someone who recognizes this effort and also reciprocates it, okay? Sometimes Venus in Virgo can get caught in this trap of being in relationships with people who just take and take and take and take from them. And Venus in Virgo thinks, well, I love to give, so what is the problem? Well, the problem is you need to receive, Virgo. And you also need to be in relationships with people who love you for who you are, for how you think, for how you communicate, for how you show up, and not just what you're capable of giving to them, okay? Your key focus that you need to remember when you're assessing your relationships is, does this person love me at the end of the day when I have nothing to give, when I have no time or energy or attention to give them? Or do they disappear when I can no longer be useful to them, okay? Pay attention to that, okay? And pay close attention to the people who reciprocate, because you really need to be in partnerships and friendships with people who can give back that equal energy, who are helping you with your chores, with your tasks, and what's going on in your life, and not just what you can give to them, okay? And so Venus in Virgo's biggest fear in a relationship is maybe perhaps being lied to. And the thing about Virgo is they have a lot of experiences in which people are just not being upfront or honest with them, either because they are hiding something or because they themselves believe some sort of lie or false belief that keeps them from being honest with Virgo. And so Virgo's solution to this is sometimes to kind of test their friendships or relationship partners and put them through little tests to see how they're going to respond. And unfortunately, sometimes this doesn't work out for you, Virgo, because people do not like to be tested. It is not always the useful or kind thing to do. And so my solution for you, Virgo, is to take people at face value, okay? Don't be sitting here asking them question after question after question after question. If you don't believe their story because their behavior doesn't match up, just take the behavior at face value as your answer and leave it at that, okay? Don't be putting people through tests and making them jump through hoops to earn your time and attention. If you feel like you're being lied to, just be upfront and take things at face value and say what you really think and feel, okay? And the other thing I have for Venus in Virgo is similar to Cancer. You can sometimes get caught up in situations and scenarios in which you can kind of become a parentified partner. So something else you need to check to make sure of is that you are not playing the role of mommy or daddy to a romantic partner specifically, because you need someone who reciprocates and shows up in an equal partnership and isn't going to take advantage of your service-oriented nature, and rather focus on the people who are giving back to you, reciprocating, and asking how you are, okay? And pay attention to who loves you, again, when you have nothing left to give, because that is who is holding you down. All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone who has Venus in Sidereal Libra, then you are someone who is friendly, outgoing, stylish, and prefers the finer things in life. You are also someone who is probably very artistic, and you may be someone who is talented in any sort of artistic pursuits, writing, poetry, music, interior design, fashion. Whatever your special interest is, if you apply just a little bit of effort, you can really excel in any sort of artistic endeavor. And you are also the type of person who puts beauty over function, which is to say, you don't care about that super durable jacket if it doesn't look cute. And you also are the type of person who can kind of get really attracted to certain aesthetics or brands that suit your stylistic interests. And so you are also drawn to people who are similarly very stylish and put a lot of efforts into their appearance and their social connections because you tend to do the same thing as well. Venus in Libra is also someone who has a strong sense of justice and a strong moral code. And so you also expect other people that you are in relationship with to also have similar views, values, and beliefs because you are not interested in people who don't have any sort of ethics in their life, okay? You have a certain perception of the way things should be, the way people should show up. You care about manners, you care about social niceties, and you put a lot of effort into making these things happen to make everything as harmonious and pleasurable as it could possibly be. Your ideal partner is someone who is willing to go to different social events with you, who likes to travel together, who wants to go to the party with the matching outfits, and you like people that enjoy seeing the sights, trying different restaurants, trying new things, taking classes together. Anything that gets you two out of the house and having a new experience is something that you really enjoy. But you also need a friend and partner who loves you and wants to be around you even when you don't have the energy for all of that. You need a true ride or die that is going to be there for you even when the party is over and they've cut the music and they've turned on the lights, okay? You should also be aware that even though you are super friendly and outgoing and you can be super popular, that just because everyone wants to be friends with you doesn't mean that you have to be friends with them. Of course, you were very good at keeping people at an arm's length, but be very aware of your tendency to people please a little bit because let's be honest, you enjoy the attention, okay? But sometimes people's attention could be just a bit too much, so feel free to be a bit picky and choosy about the people that you like get close to, okay? And so the biggest relationship fear for Venus in Libra is kind of being coerced into doing or saying something that they don't want to do or say, or being forced to believe in something or to act a certain way, or basically literally doing anything that they don't want to do, okay? They don't want to be convinced, okay? They don't want to be backed into a corner. They don't want to feel like they have no other choice but to do something. Otherwise, they will upset everyone in the balance of the room. They really, really hate being coerced in any sort of way and feeling like basically that they have to do something because quite frankly, they don't, okay? Like, I ain't gotta do anything. You don't need to push me. I will do what I want to do when I am ready. And so because of this, Venus in Libra can be a little bit avoidant. You know, they can sometimes not answer the text message, not show up because they didn't know how to tell you that they didn't want to do it. And so they just don't do it and let you figure it out. They will skirt the question. They will beat around the bush. They will find all sorts of ways to say that they're not going to do it instead of just saying that they're not going to. Or they may participate in something that I like to call malicious compliance, where they do what you are asking of them, but they do it in a way that purposely misinterprets what you wanted them to do, or they will overdo it in a way that is undesirable and disruptive. And so, quite frankly, it's better off to just let Libra be who they are and not try to push them into anything that they aren't ready for or aren't interested in. In Libra, your solution for this is you can be incredibly persuasive, okay? I don't know if you know this, but people want to do what you are telling them to do because they like the way that you say it. So if you're ever in a situation where people are trying to push their agenda on you, feel free to push your agenda right back. You can be super persuasive, so play into it and voice your own opinion, express your own feeling, and you might be surprised by just how other people are just how much other people are willing to listen to you just because they enjoy your delivery, okay? So keep working on that delivery and you can avoid a lot of these pitfalls. All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone who has Venus in Sidereal Scorpio, then you are someone who tends to be very soft, sweet, but also very emotionally intelligent and intense, okay? You are a poet at heart. You love music, you love song lyrics, you love staring out the window on a rainy day while you listen to your favorite song and pretending you're in a music video. And you are someone who is very aware of your own inner emotional world, very present with it, and you spend a lot of time there analyzing your feelings, thinking about the way you feel, and wondering how you might turn them into artwork or, say, a really good outfit. And so even though you have this super soft and sweet inner core, you tend to cover it up with kind of a hard edge, okay? Scorpio Venus definitely gets a reputation for being sort of edgy, maybe having sort of a like goth or emo aesthetic, or having just like lots of dark colors. And it's because they are so scared that their soft, sweet inner core is going to be taken advantage of or misunderstood or mistreated in some sort of way. And so Scorpio Venus is one of the most guarded Venus signs in the whole zodiac. And you are going to have to put in a lot of effort and time and energy to get to know them. And you also need to be super authentic, okay? Because Scorpio Venus can sniff in authenticity from 10 miles away. They clock it immediately, and they are not interested in people who are dishonest, who are putting on a performance, or who are not being upfront about who they really are, okay? They hate the fake stuff. And they want you to just be real with them because they also are equally uninterested in putting on a performance for other people. You just kind of have to accept them for who they are, take it or leave it. And for this reason, they also, similar to Cancer, tend to have a tight, close-knit group of friends or family members that they give their all to, rather than a large social circle, okay? Because they have limited time, limited energy, and even a smaller amount of people who are capable of handling their great emotional depths. And so to be close to a Scorpio Venus is quite frankly a privilege, okay? So Scorpio Venus's ideal partner is someone who is willing to traverse those emotional depths, someone who is authentic, honest, direct, upfront, someone who is emotionally intelligent and present, and someone who is interested in occult or taboo topics similar to Scorpio. They may be interested in true crime, they may be interested in the paranormal, or really just like anything divinatory like astrology or tarot or something like that. They are super into the crafts, okay? And so they need people who are accepting of this, and they also really need to be around people who are going to be welcoming and accepting of all of their strange little synchronicities, okay? Sidereal Scorpio's biggest fear in relationships is being alienated, which is to say Scorpio is just a little bit different than everyone else. There's always something about them that stands out or sticks out in some sort of way, especially in emotional sense. And something they really dislike is being told that they feel the wrong thing, that they express it the wrong way, or that they feel differently from everyone else and therefore their feelings are invalid, or that their differences are something that must be fixed or treated, okay? Scorpio Venus needs to be around someone that is going to not just tolerate those differences, but welcome them and celebrate them and make them feel special, because quite frankly, they are special, okay? And so Scorpio tends to deal with this fear of alienation by isolating themselves, and this is part of what makes it so difficult to know a Scorpio Venus, is because they tend to put up a lot of walls between them and other people, and kind of similar to Virgo, they want you to jump through a bunch of hoops before they give you the time of day. They kind of want you to prove that you are worthy of their affection, and they also don't want to feel rejected by anyone. And so if you don't pass their test, then they're like, oh, this person's gonna reject me, not worth my time. Okay, and so if you are in a relationship with the Scorpio Venus and they are isolating themselves, this is a great opportunity to reach out and say, hey, I notice I noticed this and I'm here for you if you need anything or if you want to talk, and that will go a long way with Scorpio. And the solution, Scorpio, is when you are feeling othered or alienated in some sort of way, and it feels like someone is trying to force you to feel something that you don't feel or to express something that you just can't express, is to put up some emotional boundaries between you and this other person so that you can maintain your emotional autonomy. Because at the end of the day, you're allowed to feel how you feel and to have your own feelings, and you shouldn't have to mask this or suppress it to be in relationship with anyone. Prioritize relationships that allow you to be authentic and just be who you are, and you really can't go wrong with that. All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone with Venus in Sidereal Sagittarius, then you are a light-hearted, free spirit who tends to view life and relationships as just one big grand adventure, okay? You are someone who wants to have a lot of different experiences, and therefore you may travel a lot and make a point to befriend lots of different types of people from different places and different cultures and who speak different languages, because every new experience teaches you something new about yourself as well. You are also someone who has a strong moral code and sense of justice and right and wrong, and you also have a lot of strong beliefs about what life is and what life is about and what human beings should be doing with life, and you enjoy making spiritual or political meaning out of your experiences. And so you prefer to be in relationship with people who have similar values and beliefs that you do. However, you can also be super tolerant of other people's differences at the same time, especially other people's weaknesses or blind spots. You tend to be very forgiving and tolerant. However, because you have that strong moral code, you may only have like maybe 5 specific rules that you think people should live by. You could be so tolerant of someone, but if they break those 5 specific rules, you will end a friendship on the spot, point blank, period, right? You're just like, I'm not willing to be seen with someone who thinks things that I do not think, okay? You are also someone who tends to be very upfront and open about your feelings, and you are also someone who likes to make other people laugh, maybe have a little bit of sarcasm, some jokes, some funny accents. You know, you are always looking to bring some joy and life and laughter wherever you go, okay? And so Sagittarius Venus's ideal partner is someone who shares their same beliefs in values, whether this is politics, religion, spirituality. It's very important that you see life in a similar way, and that you are also viewing life as an adventure that you are wanting to go on with Sagittarius, okay? Because they're always jumping from thing to thing to thing, and they want you to come with them and to have these experiences. And so they really need a partner who is dedicated to their own inner personal growth as much as Sagittarius is dedicated to their own personal growth, okay? And so Venus and Sagittarius, their biggest fear in relationship is probably being told what to think, how to think it, and how to express it, okay? They don't want to be indoctrinated into someone else's religion or way of thinking, and they also do not want to be possessed either physically or intellectually, okay? They want the freedom to be themselves, to be authentic, and to think and believe whatever feels true and right to them. So the second you try to convert them, they're like, nope, I'm done, I'm out. Don't be doing that to me. And so they sort of tend to deal with this by responding with a zealotry of their own beliefs, okay? They're like, okay, you may be that, and that's super cool, and I love that for you, but I am this. And this is what I am. And I am not just casually this thing. I am super this thing, and you can't take it away from me. Okay? They will cling to that belief, to that thought, and hold it so close to their heart, even when it creates problems for them. And so the solution to this Sagittarius is, 1, you can be what you want to be, think what you want to think, believe what you want to believe, while also being tolerant of other people's belief systems that are different than yours, and have these 2 things coexist at the same time. And I also want you to know that you do not have to prove yourself over and over and over again as a true believer of whatever it is that you specifically believe. you can just have that devotion in your heart and know that it's true, regardless of whether other people believe it or acknowledge it or understand it, okay? You are who you are. Let that speak for itself, and let go of this need to prove yourself, and let go of the need to find external validation of your beliefs as well. You don't always need someone else or something else to tell you that you're correct to believe yourself. It's okay to just believe you. And also pick friendships and partners that just believe you, no questions asked, without you constantly having to prove yourself. All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you're someone who has Venus in Sidereal Capricorn, then you have a very mature, realistic, and practical approach to relationships that may make you seem just a tad bit older than you actually are, okay? You're always thinking about relationships and friendships within the long term and how someone's friendship will benefit you in the future, not just for who they are now, but for who you could both become together, okay? Which is to say, one of your biggest priorities in relationships is a very strong foundation of friendship. When you're going into a romance, you need to know that even when things get hard and times get tough and the honeymoon phase tends to fizzle out or die down, that you and this person are going to stand strong in the face of adversity, and your friendship will carry you through anything that you guys will meet together, okay? And so your second biggest relationship priority is that you want to be in relationship with someone who has a shared sense of reality. They perceive the same problems, the same solutions, and the same desires, okay? You really want people who want the same things you do. You don't want to be fighting over wanting different things. You just want to be on the same page and to leave it at that, okay? And also, you're someone who needs to have a partner that shares your financial responsibilities, okay? Similar to Cancer and Virgo, you can end up playing mommy or daddy to a partner or a friend, and it can be super overwhelming, and you have this tendency to be a provider, and you really need to be in relationships with people who reciprocate that energy and the effort that you are putting into the relationship. Otherwise, you're going to start to feel overwhelmed and weighed down over time. And you also need to make sure you're prioritizing friendships and relationships with people who are going to make you laugh, okay? Because you can tend to be a little bit pessimistic, especially when you are feeling down about something. So you definitely need to be around people who encourage you and support you and inspire you, and who are capable of making you laugh when times are tough, and who can show you that there is still good things in life, okay? And you also need to be around people who are going to show you that it's okay to be a little bit self-indulgent sometimes, because you have a tendency to be very pragmatic and realistic and restrictive in your own pleasure. So you need someone who is going to just let you have the thing, okay? So Venus and Capricorn's biggest fear in relationships is emotional withdrawal, okay? The second someone becomes emotionally cold and avoidant, Capricorn is shutting down, okay? They really do not like that. It stresses them out to not feel emotionally connected to their partner. And so the second the other person starts to become sort of apathetic or avoidant, this is breaking Capricorn's heart, okay? Be emotionally present with Capricorn. They need it, okay? And so Capricorn tends to face this with a sense of denial or a sense of, I didn't see it, it's not true, they still care, I swear. And it's like, you know what, Capricorn? It's okay to need reassurance, and it's okay to need validation and comfort and a freaking hug, okay? It's okay to need these things. These are relationship priorities, and you shouldn't have to beg for it. And the second you are begging someone for their time or their attention or their energy, you got to step back and reassess that relationship, because at the end of the day, you need someone who isn't going to keep you stuck in a scarcity mentality. Instead, you want someone who is going to teach you that you have more than enough just as you are, okay? And so the solution for Sidereal Capricorn is definitely some creative resourcefulness, okay? And so Capricorn often exists in states where there may not be enough of something, and so they have to make the most of what they have. So Capricorn, get you a partner and a friend who knows how to make super simple things feel like the best part of your day, okay? Someone who turns dinner into an event, someone who makes coming over to do chores the best day of your life, someone who makes going grocery shopping exciting and interesting and fun. You need someone who is injecting joy into your life directly, and that is going to be a relationship that is going to sustain you long term, okay? It's someone who knows how to make you feel good and does it willingly, freely, all the time, all right? All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are someone with Venus in Sidereal Aquarius, then you can be quite friendly, outgoing, and even rebellious. You may be someone who likes to participate in what is called relationship anarchy because you have a lot of different non-traditional views of relationships, whether that be friendships, romantic partnerships, family, whatever it is. You are doing things your own way in your own time, and you are not going to be told that you are wrong. You are going to do it however the hell you want. You're going to put your own spin on everything, and people either love it and accept it or you're not interested, okay? Your ideal partner is someone who is a bit of an oddball because you can be quite the oddball yourself, okay? You're interested in people who are very different from you, who are rebellious in their own ways, people who reject traditions, people who are super authentic and upfront and honest. And you want people who are exciting and fun and are going to teach you something new. You also are the type of person who wants to have lots of many different types of friends, and you don't enjoy being tied down to just one group or just one place. You need to have the space to experiment and try on different outfits, okay? Different pieces of yourself come out with each friendship. And so you need a lot of different friends so that you can see all different sides of yourself and have a more intimate view of who you are and what you bring to relationships, okay? You are also a bit of a team player most of the time, okay? You enjoy working in groups. You enjoy having a friend group, a team that you can rely upon. You like when every single person in the group has their own specific role and then they all synchronize together in harmony. It just makes you feel like you've got your team avatar on your side, right? But you also, at the same time, need your individuality to stand out also, right? You need to feel like you are your own person and that each person brings their special sauce to the group, and together it creates its own super cool thing. But at the end of the day, you are you, they are them, and we are not trying to merge personalities, okay? You like your independence, and it takes a very special sort of person to kind of capture your attention and hold you down, right? Something else about Sidereal Aquarius is the same way they are afraid that their personality will be absorbed by other people if they get too close to them, they can also be scared that their individual freedom and autonomy will be infringed upon. And so they have a habit of keeping a lot of people at an arm's length. And similar to Scorpio, it can be very difficult to become close to Aquarius Venus because you have to put in a lot of time and energy and effort to earn their trust and emotional intimacy, okay? And this is why I think Sidereal Aquarius Venus has a reputation for falling into the friends to lovers trope, and it's because you've got to spend a lot of time with them, proving yourself, proving your loyalty, your faithfulness, and your ability to understand them for who they are before they are willing to really make a commitment, okay? So again, Sidereal Aquarius's biggest fear in relationships is that they will kind of be consumed or erased by the other person that they are in partnership with, or all of their own desires and wants and needs become covered by the other person's, and they completely lose themselves to the relationship. They are so scared that they will lose who they are that they tend to just kind of, again, keep people at an arm's length, or they tend to kind of almost disassociate from the relationship where they are physically present but they are mentally somewhere else. And honestly, Aquarius, if you find yourself doing this with someone that you love deeply, that's a good sign to take a step back and reassess the relationship and ask yourself, where can you be more honest and authentic? And ask yourself why you feel scared to be authentic and honest with this person, because that might be something you want to investigate, okay? And also with Sidereal Aquarius, you have a super intense imagination. And so you need to pick partners and friends who can engage in your imaginary world with you, okay? You're very good at imagining things that don't yet exist. You have a lot of eccentric, non-traditional, rebellious ideas, and you need people who are going to let you bounce your ideas off of them, who are going to entertain your ideas and encourage and inspire you to bring your ideas into reality and make them a real life thing, okay? Because Aquarius, you can be super creative, super artistic, a bit of an inventor or a scientist. So surround yourself with people who believe in your intellects and want to see it manifest into reality. And those are going to be your besties and your partners for life. All right? All right, that's all I've got for your sign. If you liked it, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have Venus in Sidereal Pisces, then you are a true romantic at heart, and you love romance, you love rom-coms, you love fairy tales where the knight saves the princess, and you love stories about like magical girls and superpowers and the power of friendship saving the world, because you just love love, okay? And so you can be super dreamy, super romantic, super poetic and artistic, and you are definitely someone who leans into the whimsy of life, and you prefer to be friends with people who also are similarly interested in the fantastical and the dreamy and the unreal. And you also definitely love to be friends with people who share your interest in books, movies, comics, manga, whatever it is that you are hyper focusing on. You want someone who will enter that fantasy world with you and dissect it and role play and fantasize with you and really entertain the fantastical imaginative sides of life. And you also love to be around people that you can create art with unapologetically. Creative people who are willing to put their creativity first and really embrace their artistic side are people that you feel really attracted to. And you also prioritize relationships and friendships with people who are willing to create deep emotional connections with you, because you are someone who has huge emotional depth, you have a strong emotional intelligence and awareness, and you often tend to pick up on the way other people are feeling even before they say it out loud. And so you want to be around people who are going to reciprocate your emotional curiosity and are willing to express themselves openly and just be honest about how they're thinking and feeling all of the time. And you also are the type of person who gives a lot to your relationships, okay? Similar to Virgo, you enjoy being helpful, you enjoy acts of service, and so similarly to Virgo, you have to be careful about giving too much of yourself to other people. You can be a bit self-sacrificing in that way, just because you tend to see the best in everyone, even when they don't necessarily deserve it or haven't done anything to earn your attention and affection. You see the best in people and you give them your all. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So my advice to you, Pisces Venus, is just to be a little discerning about who you give your time and energy and attention to. And also, your ideal partner is someone who is maybe a little bit quieter, a little bit more reserved, imaginative, and artistic. You don't enjoy being around people who are going to constantly nitpick at you or question you or constantly have you rephrasing things and re-explaining yourself. The second you find yourself over-explaining yourself constantly, good idea to step back and think about that. And also, Pisces, your biggest fear in relationships is that people are going to leave things out, okay? You don't enjoy when people choose not to tell you important things, and you don't enjoy lies of omission, okay? You're always wondering what is not being said, what are people keeping to themselves, and what is going on that I just don't have the information to clock yet. And so because of this, you can be deeply suspicious and untrusting towards other people in your relationships, and you can sometimes put people through hoops to try to get them to prove themselves, or you may constantly doubt people because you don't trust them. And sometimes this can work to ruin a relationship when you're constantly questioning them the same way that you don't like to be questioned. And so the solution, Pisces, is of course to be upfront and honest with people, but also to engage in your pattern recognition skills and to use your intuition to make sense of things when people are not being as upfront as you would like them to be. Pay attention to what's not being said, to what you are feeling and thinking and noticing, and have the confidence to believe in your own intuitive insights, okay? Because that's something that can trip you up sometimes, is you tend to doubt your intuition, to question it, and wait too long for external validation to trust yourself and what you're thinking and feeling. One of your biggest challenges is to just trust yourself immediately and move accordingly, okay? So Pisces, look for besties who are going to indulge in your inner emotional world, and look for partners who are willing to make a home there with you, all right? All right, guys, that's what I got for you, Sidereal Venus sign. If you liked it, if you loved it, give me a comment, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and I will see you in my next video all about your Sidereal Mars sign. Bye!